Hi everyone, my name is Dana Idle, and I did my project on comparing AES and SHA-1 for password encryption. So I chose this project because I really wanted to take a look at the two methods to see which one is a better fit for encrypting passwords. It seems as though SHA-1 is more widely used for password encryption, which I thought was interesting considering that AES is the standard for data encryption, so I wanted to kind of find out why SHA-1 is more widely used specifically for passwords. So a lot of the works that I looked at focused on the measure of a good method being based on efficiency and security, so I tried to keep that in mind going through the project. So in order to compare the two methods, I thought the best way was to create a login system. So it's pretty straightforward. So a user can log in if they're already a quote-unquote member of the site, and they can sign up if they're a new member. Upon signing up, they have to choose a username and password, and there's a set of requirements for both of those that they have to follow, which you'll see in a little bit when I do the demo. So upon signing up, the password that the user chooses is encrypted using AES and SHA-1, and the encrypted passwords are both stored in a MySQL database. And then upon logging in, the stored passwords are used for authentication for decryption. So AES has an actual decrypt method, but for SHA-1, since it's one-way encryption, the password that the user uses to log in is taken and then hashed, and that hashed password is matched with the one in the database. So for experiments, each time the encryption and decryption methods were run for both AES and SHA-1, they were timed to see how long they took to process, and those timed results were stored in a CSV file. I just took two snippets of the CSV files for the encryption and decryption times, so it just shows the password, the time it took for AES to run, and the time it took for SHA-1 to run. So for the purpose of the project, I ran the program 50 times. I chose some passwords on my own. I chose some, or I used a random string generator given the password requirements to generate some just to get a good sample of different passwords to use. And then after it was run 50 times, I took an average of the set of results and used those averages to compare the two methods. So I'm going to do a quick demo just so you can kind of see how the program works. So when you start it up, you have the option to log in or sign up. For the purposes of time, I'm going to sign up because it gives you an option to transition into login later on. So I will sign up and I'll choose a username of Dana Proj. And then for password, I'll do a bad password just so you can see that it makes you choose a password with the set of requirements. So I will do @project 123. And then it shows you, this was a little bit for debugging and also just to see results in real time. It shows you for AES and SHA-1 how long it took for both of those to run for encrypting the password. So then it says, now that you've signed up, would you like to log in? So I'll say yes. And then it was Dana Proj and @project 123. And then same thing, it shows you the decryption times for both methods. And then you're logged in. So that was just kind of how it works. And then looking at the results, so like I said, after running the program 50 times with different passwords, I averaged out the time each method took to run for encryption and decryption. These were the results. So as you can see, looking at it, SHA-1 was definitely more efficient for both encryption and decryption. It performed almost 2 times as fast as AES did, which is obviously super important if you have a really big program that's doing encryption and decryption a lot. You want to keep the time down that it takes for it to run. And then I couldn't really do a measure of security just given the scope of the project because I would have had to imitate an attack on the system, and I just didn't have the time to do that. So I took the security measure just based on different works that I looked at, and overall, SHA-1 is more secure just given the nature of it. It creates an irreversible hash, so there's no way to go back to the original string. So if a hacker were to hack into the database and see the list of passwords that were encrypted using SHA-1, they would have absolutely no way to get back to the original password. And just looking at it, because it creates a fixed length string coming from a variable length string, a hacker would just have no information on the plain text password at all. Whereas when you take AES, there's a whole algorithm associated with it for encryption and decryption. So there is that way for an attacker to be able to go back to the original plain text. And that's what makes SHA-1 more secure over AES for this specific password encryption. So based on efficiency and security, after kind of looking at the results and reading up on it, it made a lot more sense why SHA-1 is kind of more of the standard when it comes to password encryption. It's more efficient, it's more secure, and that's what came out of this. So that is my project, and thank you for listening.